What's up, guys? It's Crash, and I just wanted to make a follow-up video to yesterday where I covered everything officially released on the website about Battlefield 2042 with some stuff that kind of actually addresses some community concerns that I've seen popping up. These are things you may or may not have seen, but essentially it is 5 things that I'd like to talk about that have been addressed outside of the context of that original release. So one of the first things that I want to cite is an article by Nicole Lee, a senior game designer at DICE. She did an interview with Inverse.com, and it's actually a really good article, and I recommend you guys go check it out. There's some really good insight, but I wanted to look at some of the high points there that she talked about that might put your mind at ease about some of the concerns you have. So the main thing, I want to start off with the big one. It's a little bit later on in the article, but this was a huge sigh of relief to me. She explicitly says that in the Battle Pass, any kind of game-changing items are going to be in the free tiers. So weapons, specialists, things like that change stats, change gameplay is going to be available to everyone, whether you're a premium member or not. And then the cosmetics, the elite type cosmetics are in the actual paid tiers. And the Battle Pass kind of goes along with the narrative driven themes for the backstory of the game as we go along and move through kind of the lore. Since there's not a campaign, they're adding a lot more story and context to the multiplayer battles, which I think is pretty cool. But that was a big sigh of relief for me. And then I also noticed there's quite a bit of concern about the setting being too futuristic, making it look too much like Star Wars, laser guns and everything all over the place. And she addresses this a little bit. She comes out and says, I don't want to have too many lasers in my game, but at the same time, I do want new tech involved. So it seems like they have their ear to the ground and they're listening to the community that we want a new, fresh game, but we don't want to get into the Star Wars Battlefront type of gameplay. So I thought that was really good. And then something that's been covered quite a bit by other YouTubers that got information ahead of time, but she confirms that the specialists, I've seen a lot of concern about the specialists, they still fall under the original categories such as support, medic, recon, things like that. They're almost similar. I wouldn't get too worried about specialists quite yet until we see gameplay. They almost sound to me like a little bit next level of those archetypes that they've tried to come out with in the past, where you have classes that have some special abilities and traits to them. So not getting too worried about specialists just yet. That made me feel just a little bit better. And then also something that was big that she mentioned was vehicles. I know people are worried about vehicles being on these massive maps, and she addresses this head on and says that vehicles can be summoned to your location. They're also going to use the number of vehicles to balance vehicle versus infantry combat. Not everyone can call in a tank, so you have 128 tanks battling out against each other, which would be kind of an interesting game mode. But the reasoning behind this is she says on these massive maps, which I cannot wait to see, that you don't want to spawn in, have to run all the way to a vehicle depot, get in a tank, and then drive all the way back across the map just to get into battle. So I think that's a really good quality of life change. And then something else, there's not a lot out there about weapons quite yet, but one thing that has come out in others videos that I wanted to touch on that I didn't talk about yesterday is there is a plus system that allows you to change attachments on the fly while you're in combat on the map, and I think that is really good. Currently, the latest game in Battlefield 5, some things you can't even change without completely leaving the server. So I think this is a massive step in the right direction. So anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to cover today. I will be keeping my eye on the Summer Game Fest here this afternoon in case anything drops there. Definitely be taking a look at the trailer in the coming days with you guys. I'm probably not going to do something like everybody does and just call out the guns and stuff. We're just going to take a look at things and see if there's anything different that we can spot and go through that together. And then definitely, I think Sunday, I'm going to sit down with you guys in a glass of bourbon and we will watch the gameplay reveal together. That will be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.